So I'm Demario Jives from the King Jive Show, official King Jives on YouTube.
Ain't no long mix. There's no long. We should get Bluetooth. I'm gonna look into that and see if there's a way we can make it Bluetooth. Is it long? I expected more people to be
So heaven. Listen, somebody walked up to me and asked me a question one day. They said, girlfriend, how in the world can a brown cow eating green grass go turn around and give us some white milk? I said, well, I don't know about that one. But one thing that I do know, that God's chemical laboratory of redemption to my black soul stained with sin and plunged me in red blood, the blood of Jesus. And I came out white as snow. Yes, I did. The angels in heaven done sign. There's a leak in this old building, and my soul has got to move. My soul has got to move. Ooh, my soul has got to move. There's a leak in this old building, Lord, and my soul has got to move. I got another building, a building I made. This old building keeps on leaning, y'all, and my soul has got to move. My soul has got to move. My soul has got to move. This old building keeps on leaning, and my soul has got to move. I got another building. Yes, I do. Before this time, another year, I may be dead and gone. But before I go, yeah, I want to let you know I'll be living in my brand new home. This old building keeps on sinking, y'all, and my soul has got to move. My soul has got to move. My soul, yeah. This old building keeps on sinking, y'all, and my soul has got to move. I got another building. Yes, I do.
Good morning, family and friends. If there is any family that is in here and wish to walk in, Lena is outside, so if y'all can get up, y'all can go out, we can all walk in together.
Two mansions in the sky. I'll bid farewell to all of my friends. God said he would wipe my weeping eyes. Oh, this old feeling keeps on sinking, and my soul has got to move. My soul has got to move. This whole building keeps on sinking, and my soul has got to move. I've got another building. You know what? I'm moving. Moving home. I'm moving home. I'm moving. I'm moving home. Moving. I'm moving home. When you hear me sing that song, I'm just moving a little closer to home. When you see me praising the Lord, I'm just moving closer to my heavenly home. Hey, moving. Yeah. Ooh. Oh, moving home. Moving home. Oh, I got another building. Another building.
Listen, when a person becomes a believer, your spirit is made right. But sometimes the heart rim, the soul rim, the mind rim is a little slow getting the message. Because life has left a hole in it due to molestation, low self-esteem, abuse. But I came to tell you that God is coming to heal the hole in your soul. My sister Leandria is going to help me with this story. Take your time, sister. Sing it for somebody. Rescue me from myself.
All I seem to do is hurt me.
Anybody overthink a lot, that hurts you.
Hurt me.
That's right. Now let's take it up and cry out. Say, yes, sir.
Deliver me.
Take your time.
Cause all I seem to do is hurt me.
Anybody out there got that message? We should be finishing it, but I need you to say it one more time.
Deliver me. Cause all I seem to do is hurt me.
Rescue me from myself, God. The phone that's out there is gonna die soon, so I'm gonna switch the phone that I have out there right now. I'm just gonna switch it with this one because it's at 93%.
Is it gonna mess up?
It's gonna stop and then it's gonna go right back up.
Oh, okay.
It's gonna look like
We're gonna lose the numbers.
They'll come back because everybody's in here waiting for the funeral. No. Yeah, they'll see the notification.
Jesus. Why you can't plug your phone up?
Unless you give me a long extension for it.
You got the charger, right? Where do you need to go to?
From where you saw me sitting to over there, but that's not going fun.
I mean, this will be the first time that we do it, and then I just know next time to make sure both phones are charged.
So the other one is short.
Yes, this is at 93%. That's the other thing that people. That's the other thing. You want me to switch it now before you start it?
Right on time, never wanna make You've been there for me. You've been there for me, and that's why I'm stronger. Anybody wanna know? So much I said, you were there for me all the way to the end. I'm strong. I'm wise. So much Never could have made it without you. I've been through enough. I've never been alone. I thought that it was over, but because of your prayers for me, I'm still here. I'm stronger, and I'm made. Somebody let Mr. Morton out, cause I feel a switch in this thing. I hear you stand, I hear you stand. Because Bishop said, when I look back over my life, I had to remember this position right here. It will win all the time. Somebody said that I'll never be, but I thank God for keeping me. Made it. Had a hard time, 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 had a hard time. See you, Chelten, you didn't get through. That was my cue right there. I gotta go. Bishop said, I made it. 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 Made it. I made it, yeah. I made it. I made it. Oh, I made it. I made it. Yeah, I made it. Come on, if you would, in this place. Let's stand all over this place and give God a hand clap of praise, if you would. Come on, you can do better than I said. Stand all over this place and give God a hand clap of praise, if you would. I said, the Lord has been good to you. I said, give him a hand clap of praise. If he's made a way out of no way, I said, give him a hand clap of praise. Hallelujah. Certainly we come into this place to celebrate the life of Miss Samantha James, known as Miss Cookie-Tookie, and we honor her life and her legacy. And we're going to go forward within the services. We're going to ask that you would please, if you could please make sure your cell phones are off. If you would please, we're going to ask that you would please be respectful. We are going to go into the life celebration where we're planning for God to move and do what needs to be done. In Jesus' name, we're going to ask that you would please receive Minister Tatiana Woodard as she comes to begin to the officiating of the service. God bless you.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you. We thank you for another day in the land of the living, God. We ask right now, God, that you would send comfort to the room, oh God. That you would send comfort to the family and to the friends of Samantha James, oh God. We ask that you would strengthen them now, even in this moment, that they may know that to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. And we ask right now, God, that during this service, Lord, that you would have your way, that you would be glorified, that your name would be lifted on high. And we ask these things in your name. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. At this time, we will have a scripture reading by Deacon Montez Brown.
Good morning. I'll be reading from the Old Testament, Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. The New Testament will be John. Let not your heart be troubled. Yea, believe in God. Believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also. And whether I go, ye know, and the way ye know. Thomas said unto the Lord, we know not whither thou goest, and how can we know thy way? Jesus said unto them, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. God bless.
At this time, we will have a musical selection by Pastor Andrew Williams.
Can we clap our hands all over the house? For the life and legacy, Miss Cookie-Tookie. To God be the glory. How can I say thanks for the things He has done for me? Things so undeserved, but yet you prove your life for me. Voices of a million angels cannot express our gratitude. So all that we are and ever hope to be, we owe it all to thee. To God be the glory To God, you get all the glory. To God, be all the glory for the things He has done. With His blood, He has saved us, and with His power, He just raised her to go. Be all the glory for the things, hey, how you kept the Holy Spirit, how you keep making ways out of no way for her life. Holy Spirit, has
All right now, Sam. Love you. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, Jesus.
We know Samantha loved to have church.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you, Jesus.
All right. She all right. She all right.
Thank you, Jesus,
Hallelujah.
for taking her in your arms. Thank you, Jesus, for making it to the other side. Thank you, Jesus. To be absent from the body is to be present. So we say thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Jesus. The family acknowledges with appreciation the kind expressions of sympathy, words of comfort, and prayers that have been offered up during these hours of bereavement. May God continue to bless each and every one of you. At this time, we will ask that if anyone would like to say any remarks, that you would make a line this way, and that you would keep it at 2 minutes, please. So now the floor is open if anyone wants to make any remarks.
How y'all doing? I'm Samantha's cousin, my first cousin. I just want to say, I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss everyone in your family. Keep up with your cousin Diane, man. Make sure she's all right for me, okay? I love you. Good morning. I'm Samantha's sister behind. That's the name Samantha has been calling me for so long. And I just want to thank each and every one of you for coming out today to celebrate her life. She's truly for God. Truly, truly. She has left a legacy. And she has won her race. She's always kept God. That is how we were raised, with God. We've always
always told that without God, you cannot make it. Without God, you would fail. So no matter what we go through in life, we were always told to keep God with us, keep God first, keep God there in the midst of the storm, keep God right there. So I just want to say, no matter what she went through, she kept God with her. No matter what she'd been through, she kept God right there, and God kept his promise to her. I just want to say she has been a witness to many of us, and many of us have to keep God right there and keep God right there, because without God in this life, we will not make it. Without God, we will constantly fail. We have to keep God. We have to keep God. I remember she used to always say, "Vi, come on, let's go to church." I said, "Samantha, I ain't going to church, girl," because I had an endeavor with God. I was angry with God. I said, "God, you put me through all this pain on this earth. Why would I serve you? Why would I serve you?" She said, "Vi, come on every Sunday. Vi, come on, Vi, come on." So finally, one Sunday morning, I said, "Samantha, come on. Let's go to the house of the Lord." God worked on me. So I want to say to those out there that's dealing with a little bitterness and anger, and you're mad with God, today is a perfect day to turn it over. Turn it over. Turn your bitterness and your anger and your mess over to God. Because one day we all have to be where Samantha is. And we want to be ready when that time comes. When that time comes, we want to be ready. So as Samantha was taking her last breath, I sang the song to her. So God, give me strength to sing. You are my strength, strength like no other, strength like no other, reaches to me. You are my peace. Oh, you are, you are, you are, you are, you are, you are, you are. You are that joy. Oh, strength like no other. Strength like no other. Reaches to me. Truly, truly love you, sir. And you have left the impact not only on us, but on this world. And I thank God for allowing you to be in my life. Samantha James was born September 17, 1978, in Orlando, Florida. She was the youngest child to Bernice Brinkley and Samuel James. Samantha received her formal education in the Philadelphia public school system, where she would later study at Drexel University and study mortuary science at Northampton Community College. Samantha had a larger-than-life personality and lifted every room she stepped foot in. She was a consistent source of love and laughter and would help anyone in need without question. She loved her family and friends dearly. She had so many passions in life, including her love for fashion. Her greatest joy in life was that she lived her life with no regrets. and she lived it to the fullest. Samantha departed this life on December 3rd, 2022. She was preceded in death by her mother, Bernice Brinkley. Her memories here on earth will continue to be cherished by her brother Timothy, her sister Valina, and a host of nieces, aunts, and uncles. Lovingly submitted, the family. Now we will have another musical selection for Pastor Andrew Williams. Knowing all the my help, it comes, it only comes from you. So your peace you give me. And shine of the sun, 'cause you are the source of my strength. Do I have a witness in this room today? You are, you're the strength of my life. And I lift my hands in total praise to you. Come on, if you know what I say, do the best you can. Yes, sir. Your peace, you give me, yes, God, in cause you are, hey, the source of my strength. You are. You're the very strength of my life. And I lift my hand in total praise to the only wise God. Hey, to you. Come on, everybody, help me sing it. You are the source of my strength. You are, hey, the source of my strength. I know she was a praise, and any praise in the room. You are, the strength of my life. And I lift my hands in total praise to
the only wise God. Amen. At this time, we will have the eulogy by Bishop Romaine Gibbs of the Next Level Revival Church.
Come on, give God a hand clap of praise if you will. I said y'all can do better than that. I said give God a hand clap of praise if you will. Certainly, I want to take a moment out to switch roles here and extend my deepest condolences. And you just turn and speak it towards me, some of you, and extend my deepest condolences to the family member, and friends of Samantha James, known as Cookie-Tookie. We celebrate her life and we celebrate her legacy. For certainly she has touched many people around the world. I personally have a story of Samantha. I met her some years ago. It was right here at the R.S.Gibbs funeral home. And she began to assist me to do certain things around the funeral home. And then she was talking about going to mortuary college. And I was honored to give her a referral to go to mortuary college. I got the receipts for it, y'all. So I gave her a referral to go to mortuary college. And unfortunately, life is just life. I think if we get my sister there, I'm going to talk for a minute. Life is just life. There we go. And I think that a lot of times we don't even understand that just because I don't do it like you, don't mean I don't know him.
Amen. Come on.
Just because I don't walk like you, don't mean I don't know him. And so I just want to talk for a moment here, and I'm not going to take long, about 5 minutes. I want to look at 1 Samuel 16 and 7. And I'll begin to ask the Lord, what is it that you would have for me to say? I don't want to say anything out of my own self, but what would you have for me to say? And so he took me to 1 Samuel 16 and 7, and I'll read it for you. It says, "But the Lord said to Samuel, do not consider his appearance or his height, for I have rejected him. The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." If you don't mind for a moment here, could you just look at somebody next to you? I know y'all ain't talking to nobody today, but just look at somebody next to you and just say, neighbor. Come on, use your club voice. Say, neighbor. Say, God is about to edit your story. Look at somebody else, because that person didn't get it. Look around, talk to the empty seat. Say seat, say neighbor. Neighbor. Say, I don't know about you. You might know all my issues, but God's about to edit my story. I've learned something so powerful. Belina, I'm in the midst of, stop all this moving around me, please. I'm in the midst of about to write a book. I'm writing a book, and the book is going through a process where the book is now going through publishers so that I can release the book. So when I wrote the book, and I basically, I did the voice recorder and I transcribed the words of the book to put it into a book format. There was no way possible I was going to sit down and write 30,000 words. It wasn't going to happen. And so I began to voice record and I began to transcribe my words into the book so that we could begin to formulate what needed to be formulated. So as I began to do that, I noticed there was a lot of errors in the story. I noticed there was a lot of hiccups in the story. I noticed that there were a lot of things in the story that sounded like me, and it needed to sound like me, but some of the stuff, it did not make sense in the story. And so I want to stick a pin because I want to ask you a question in the room. Did people ever try to tell your story and never really understood your story? Have people, because people, they have saw you go through different obstacles and trials in life. They have saw you struggle, and they put all of this in your story, but sometimes your story has to go through a process because God said it's not time for you to release that part of the story yet. And do you understand that people, they have a thing where they like to judge you from the outside? Isn't it something so powerful? Y'all can talk to me. Isn't it something so powerful that a lot of people, they think they know you, and they judging you from the outside and don't know anything about you. We have, come on here, we have judged the book by a lot of covers, and we have mistaken the book, because some of the nicest people is the people that you think are the meanest people. Some of the nicest people that you think are the nicest people are the most evilest people, because we have misjudged the outside of the book. But sometimes what you have to understand is that, baby, although my outward appearance says one thing, you don't understand the process that God has really took me through. Okay, so let me make my point. And so I found out something so powerful about Cookie. I found out that she had a gift from God, and I'm going to explain it in a moment. She had a gift from God because we all come into the earth one with a gift. Okay, my gift might not be your gift, but we all got a gift. Okay, and so some people got gifts to do hair, some people got gifts to dance, some people got gifts to do whatever they do. And so Cookie had a gift to make the world laugh. Oh, you're not going to talk. Y'all too quiet here. She had a gift to touch the world and make the world laugh. And one of the things that I appreciated, and I've been saying this from day one, I said, some people, they got to put on the makeup, and they got to put on the fake attire, and they got to put on the hair, and they got to put on the nails. But Cookie, she showed you her good side, and she showed you her struggle. She showed you when she was in the program, and she also showed you what it was like to live in the box and still make the world laugh. See, this is the thing I want the people to understand, that a lot of people don't understand that just because I got a struggle, but see, sometimes God will anoint you in your struggle to be a blessing to somebody else. Oh my God, I wish I had a real church. I said sometimes, see, and this is what I love. You never heard her really complain. Y'all ain't even talking to me. If you go back and you look at her videos and you look, you never ever heard her complain, and you never ever heard her sob stories, but you always heard her making the world laugh. And so she would get all these views, and she would get all these people to call her from all over the world. But when hell broke loose in her life, she couldn't find nobody. What happens when the front and center person needs some help on the sideline? Oh, y'all not going to talk to me here. I said, what happens when I'm in a situation? Because just because I'm smiling, I found out something so powerful, that the strongest people will be the first ones to break. And see, they think just because we're strong and we can endure all the pain and we can go through all the hardships and we can carry all the weight, that sometimes we don't need a little bit of help. Sometimes I need somebody to speak in my life too. Sometimes I need somebody to ask me, because they see me entertaining the world and they see me got everybody smiling. But did you ask me, did I eat today? Come on here. Did you ask me, did I get my medication today? Did you ask me, did I have someone to lay my head? But see, this is one thing I love about God. See, we got to edit the story. Because here it is, watch this. And so my editors, they were going through the story, and as they're going through the story, they said, we're going to take this, and we're going to replace it with this, and we're going to change this around, and we're going to do this. And I said, okay. I said, but is it taking my words? They said, no, we're not taking your words. We're just making some adjustments to your words. And see, sometimes what has to happen in life, God has to make an adjustment to your story. Because I found out something so powerful that people can't tell your story like you can tell your story. Y'all not talking to me. People can't tell your story like you can tell your story. And see, sometimes, come on, give me some. And see, sometimes what happens in life is that God is not ready for you to tell all your business yet. Because see, the testimony comes when you can stand before them and you look wonderful with your Gucci and your Louis Vuitton on and you have all your makeup on and you look like you ain't been through nothing. But then they sit and they hating on you. And you can say, baby, you ain't got to hate on me because I knew what it was like to be homeless too. Because I ain't always drove a nice Mercedes. I had to walk the streets and catch the bus too. I ain't always had a steak and macaroni and cheese on my table. Oh, y'all not going to talk. I had some baked beans and some hot dog days. I had some spam and some egg days. Baby, you can't tell my story like I can tell my story. And here it is. So what God does here, he says, I want you to save the best for last.
Yeah. Yes, God.
I want you to save the best for last. I heard a lot of people, they talked about, Cookie, and they said that all she wanted was a proper burial and a farewell. All she wanted was to just be glanced one more time.
Yes. Yes.
But I found out something so powerful the last few weeks. I found out that everybody in your life don't need to be in your life.
Amen. Jesus.
Everybody you call friend is not your friend.
No.
Everybody you call bro, and see, you got to watch these labels you put on people, because we call them brother and sister and my mother and my father and all these people, the same ones around you. When stuff goes down, I almost said something else. When stuff goes down, they ain't nowhere to be found. I said when stuff. I said when I didn't trust you, because see, what happens is people forget when you was there for them when you didn't have nothing. They forget when you had the struggle, mother, when you didn't have nothing, but you still found a way to take some of the stuff and split it between my kids and your kids. And we all gonna eat. We all gonna be a family. But see, when you hit the rock bottom, people forget who you are. They say never forget the hand that helped feed you.
My God, my God.
Never forget. Can I say something to you? I noticed all the unnecessary mess and drama the last few weeks. But see, here's the kicker. Y'all do it. They did all of that unnecessary mess and drama, but they don't understand what Cookie had to go through when she was by herself. They didn't have to go through the pain when she was by herself. They didn't have to go through when they were sticking needle after needle and they was testing and trying to find out what was going on. They didn't have to go through that. They didn't have to go through when she had all type of fluid on her body and she could barely get out the bed and walk. They didn't have to go through that. They didn't have to go through the part where she ain't have nobody to really call on to really get there because she was so far away. They didn't have to go through that. But so many people got so much to say at the end of the story. So God says, what I'm going to do with your story is I'm going to take your story and I'm going to change the story. Can I say something to the world real fast, and for all those that's looking? God still has time to make an adjustment to your story. I said, God still has time to make an adjustment to your story. And how do God make an adjustment to your story? What he does, number one, is that he has to send some hardships in your life, because that's how he gets your attention.
Yes.
He has to get you to a place where you ain't got no other choice but to just fall down and look up and say, Lord, I need thee right now. That's what I need. And no matter what Cookie went through, she always remembered the name of the Lord. She remembered the name of the Lord was a strong tower. She remembered the name of the Lord. He was a rescuer. He was a way maker. She remembered the name of the Lord. He is Jehovah Jireh. He gonna provide for me. She remembered the name of the Lord. He's Jehovah Rapha. He'll heal my body. She remembered, come on here, I'm ready to go. She remembered the name of the Lord. That when all hell breaks loose, he said, I'll never leave you, nor will I forsake you. I'm ready. He said, but I'll be with you to the very end. She remembered the name of the Lord. When friends walked away and turned away, and she had nobody to call on, he said, I will never keep you by yourself, but I'm a friend to the very end. Tap your neighbor and say, neighbor. Say, we're saying good night to Cookie. But in the morning, here it is. You can't crown them, baby, till I get there. And we still got to go through some trials. And we still got to go through some tribulations. And we still got to deal with people talking about us. And we still got to deal with people stabbing us in our back. But God said, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For thou art, I gotta go to word. For thou rod and comfort me. But surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. And I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever. The Lord promised, I'm going now to prepare a place for you. In my Father's house, there are many mansions. He said, I'm going to prepare a place. And I gotta come back for you. So just a few days ago, on December the 3rd, 2022, the Lord decided it's time for Samantha to come to her heavenly home. There's no more suffering there. I wish I had a church. There's no more crying there. There's no more tribulation there. There's no more sadness there. There's no more homelessness there. But on the other side, he said, I shall rise you up. And when I rise you up, I'm going to take you out of heart disease. I'm going to take you out of cancer. I'm going to take you out of AIDS and HIV. When I rise you up, I'm going to take you out of all the stuff that's been weighing you down. And I'm going to change your garments. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, say when God does it, I'm not going to look like what I've been through. He took off them dirty hospital clothes. He took off them dirty needles. He got rid of the hospital bed. He said, girl, get up. I'm taking you to another place. It's called glory. In the morning, when I rise, I'm going to rise holy. I'm not going to have the same stuff I had. Somebody say, get out. Sickness. Get out. Get out of tribulation. He said, get up. Somebody say yes, Lord. So on December the 3rd, good old baby, in the wee hours of the morning, she said, Lord, I'm ready to go. And she took his hand. And when she took his hand, she left this whole world. She said, you can have this whole world. You can have everything. But give me Jesus. That's what I need. I cried long enough. I suffered long enough. I struggled long enough. You can have this whole world. But give me Jesus. Somebody say yes, Lord. And so the Lord, he took our remains. He said, I'm going to take what's in the inside. The stuff that people didn't know about. What's on the inside? The stuff people judged about. What's on the inside? The stuff people talked about. He said, I'm taking the spirit because it belongs to me. You can have the flesh, but give me the spirit. And where the spirit of the Lord is, there is power. There is Here it is. They can say whatever they want to say about it, but it no longer matters. Because you see a shell laying here. I said, Destiny, it's a shell laying here. We dressed her up and made her look real pretty. But the next time you see her, she gonna have on a white old robe. Oh, I wish I had some church people here. I said, the next time you see her, she gonna have a crown on her head. I said, the next time you see her, she gonna be walking up and down the gold roads. I'm hearing somebody say the next time you see her, because she gonna stand before the, and he gonna say, well done, thou good and thou faithful. Cookie. We say, well done, thou good and faithful servant. The battle is over. But those that remained, you got to still complete your story. And so the Lord has now, Mother, took her through her story process. And the book is now ready. because they thought it was going to end one way, but it ended another. So I can shut all the haters up and all the naysayers. Baby, I understand y'all understood her struggles and y'all saw some of her struggles. But drugs was not the cause of her death. God changed the story. I said, I know what y'all saw. I know, but they ain't found her in the street nowhere. In the box, that wasn't her story. I know what you thought, but they ain't found her. Codeine, land, so that wasn't her story. You can say whatever you want, for you judgmental, OG, sanctified Christians. One thing I admire about Samantha, she lived in her truth.
Yes, God. Absolutely.
And still saved. God don't worry about your outsides. All he cares about what's on the inside. The word says that only the pure at heart shall see God. So just, if you don't remember anything else, remember she has fought a battle. She has ran a race. And we say, well done.
Well done.
Thy good and faithful servant. Come on, stand all over this place. And let's celebrate Cookie's life. Come on, clap your hands. And just say, well done. Well done, baby. Well done. It's over. We're going to turn the services back to the hands of the
Family and friends, we're about to prepare to do a final viewing for all who would like to view. Immediately following the viewing, we will give the family time to say their last goodbyes and farewells and close up. And then we will be preparing to go to the Chelten Hills Cemetery. We will need three ladies at that time to be serving as flower bearers, as well as we would need 6 to 8 to act as pallbearers, and they would meet us outside in the vestibule. Thank you.
Somebody said, what's the matter with